And a pleasant good day, that is. The time is approximately 10 minutes moving away from the 10 o'clock hour. And you know how it is moving from one program to another. There are things that go on behind the scene that you're not aware of, but we can't just jump from one to the other. Different labeling and different things and so forth. Anyway, we're into voices for today, and we have our host for today and his guest for today. So I'm going to go right into the host, let him introduce himself and say whatever it is he wants to say, and then they take it from there. Okay? So good morning to you, Mr.
Yeah,
Agard.
morning greetings to all listeners out there. Yeah, well, we could just dive right in since we're getting a little late start. The the idea to brainstorm today basically is surrounding Black History Month. We haven't gotten any time to reason it. I mean, there's so many things going on. I mean, now we're waiting to hear what's going to be the outcome of this CARICOM meeting and what's not. And then when that is finished, we could all sit down and reason what we have to reason concerning that. But for now, we could just distract our minds a little bit and, kind of entertain the idea about Black History Month. Now, Marcus Garvey said a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without root. And then you had this person they called George Santayana said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to see how all this ties into that conversation that was kind of hot the other day, SSZ, and show that some of this is even based on this whole idea of our history.
Okay.
So we have today with us, I guess he will introduce himself.
Greetings and great thanks again to be in the winnfm studio. Thanks a lot, Queen.
Go a little closer.
Yes, give thanks, greetings, and just like to say, in the name of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie the First and our Imperial Majesty Yemen Aswa, and give thanks again, Brother Agard, for letting I and I be a part of this dialogue today as an impact of our activities toward Black History Month, African History Month. We just like to say thanks for the nation in itself to be aware of our ancestors that they have strived to be billion, not perfect, billion people. And we are still billion people if we really tap into that source of knowledge that we have within our pineal gland, as we call it, the carbon energy, that formulate, that essence of who we are as a nation of African heritage. Give thanks.
Yeah, man, best. Yeah, speak to some of the activities, that your group normally full take with.
Well, at the moment, he's up and down a bit today, so.
I like that. Not partake, full take.
Yeah. So it's up and down as we see in the moment. We just like to say the move that I and I deny being it are impacting as a way of giving back to our community. As we say, charity begins at home. So we always play this part in our way in giving ethical love to our communities, not just on the shores of Singis, but via into the shores of Nevis. So we have impact activities from the 22nd of February to the 1st of March, and that in itself have a theme that require our way forward as a people. My roots, I will never forget. And you really say it entwine with the movements that is applying for the SSC. So we like to say we're really insisting on these kind of measures to be awakening to our people where we have to stand for as national and people who safeguard in our sovereignty.
Yeah, man, give thanks for that. So I'm going to tease your mind, even Quint, I'm going to tease your mind with this as well. Now, in ancient times, when we heard about when we read now about the Atlantic slave trade, we know that the Europeans didn't just run in and capture people.
Yeah.
There was a situation where some of the same people who look like us was doing the kidnapping and trading for arms and food and stuff. And, they would just basically sell the people. Now, we're in 2026. Now, based on the SSZ Act, well, I've read it. Don't remember it by heart, but I've read it. But could you see some similarities in a modern way now that the same principles are maintained where, elite groups who are now basically like the politicians and what's not, are very much willing to trade again and basically you could say sell the future of our people in a sense, because the generation that's going to rule in, say, 2050, going to inherit situations that they might not be able to overturn, as they may be sued for billions of dollars and so on. So just teasing your minds a bit, could you see that the SSZ Act, as it is written now, seem to be in the same position, or very similar position, as those elites, African, who were kidnapping and selling our people?
I'm going to let the other
Yeah, go ahead.
first, and then I'll come in after.
A very vital, important question asked on the aspect of where we stand, to the sense of where land in its position require for us as a people to move forward and merge our development. But on the grounds of how we realize the essence of where we forebears that face a lot of hardship and kind of ridiculous kind of achievement, is to see now in 2026 something of this magnitude will be relying again to our shores, which it cannot be applied because what the kind of mind that where people have been brought into as a human nature, we mustn't not have people dominating the kind of level we are approaching at. And to see initiative, I won't go just at the politician them, because they themselves not even know the status where they're really dealing on. They only just to take a paper and a pen and say they're writing something. But basically go beyond that politician farmer. But they are the ones who are doing the legislative to where we guide, as in they call it policy. These are not laws, they are policies that can be changed in effective if we really know how to challenge these matters that are rising. So I would just say the people who really need to challenge is the people who is the oligarch. Those are the people we really need to challenge because they are behind the scene. We only see the politicians them as the front because they are getting the money to do the kind of initiative that require.
And that's the similarity.
That based on
that is one the similarity.
So we have to really be on the understanding of where we focus in our point at, because there's a lot of chicks of trade behind this deal here of what applying to say a SSC zone. When I first hear the implementation of it, it was very disturbing. And when to say, I went to one of the town hall that was acquired to have dialogue with the public that occurred up by Nima conference room. And here the Prime Minister relating to one of the persons who come and ask a question that they didn't have to go and make no indication to the public. That's a disregarding to your general format.
Yeah.
How you going in? You could just go into Parliament and do something like that. So that will show you now basically that the hand have done been picked. Mm-hmm. So in this sense, as you outlined, some of our people in our African itinerant that they used to use these things as a bargain chip.
Right. And they're using it now again.
And this is another avenue that they use in bargain chip on our people in this sense. How we got to realize what the position we're standing. And I will say here today, I'm sitting on the dialogue of the SSC zone that was established within that committee, because the Rastafari voice must be heard in this essence of what the challenges we'll face to our people. Mm-hmm. And not just what we've seen, as you said, but in the 50 years, beyond 50 years, we can't see this kind of mechanism being something that is not valued for our people. And we got to be cautious how we take things in deal, guide the people in a proper way. We ain't said changes shouldn't come, but know what changes will be when we go within ourselves as a people, being respectful and not being dominated. Give thanks.
And also to add to what you just said, I mean, it's like back then, the circumstances, we don't have, clear documentation as to how exactly it went down, but we know definitely that there were negotiations between certain elite groups who were kidnapping and basically selling people. Now, the people that were selling were foreigners, like people who really didn't belong there, You also had like maybe prisoners and so on. This is based on some documentation that they do have there.
Yeah.
But some of the similarities is quite clear in that the fact that they would take stuff, arms and food and money and different things and so on, show that the idea to import to be better has always been there.
Yeah.
And now you have a Caribbean people as a result of that who is continuing along those lines.
Yes,
As a matter of fact, we had that topic here one time that we call the metropole magnetism, where we think that we have to import
to survive.
to survive. We have to import
Manage our market.
progress. So we cannot innovate on our own. We have to import all that. And therefore, so I'm just trying to show the parallel that back then, these African elites wanted to import, progress. They have better weapons now. They have better materials and different things and so on. Mind you, and they're sitting on resources that could make them as rich as they want.
Yeah.
But yet they just import anyway. So then a people now who is a result of that is so easy now because now you're mentally conditioning people to be like that. So when it comes to making a deal, offering and them type of stuff, it's easy for our politicians to crumble or bend the knees and accept things, whether it's under the table or on top the table or across the table, and just work out, well, the people are maybe too ignorant to understand how this thing works. So yes, it definitely is better for us that we just give about 6 miles away land, the green land, and that we could innovate and make, some stuff that would go good for us. And just, just do that.
In this sense, I say good for us.
No, that's what they're saying,
That's what
they're saying. I'm not saying that. That's what
no, I'm not
they're saying.
You're saying I just give me a clarity in that aspect because these are the things that I say when I hear the Prime Minister saying to one of the presenter at that same forum. He was very disturbing. I had to tell him, no, you can't say them kind of statement there. Because literally you're trying to tell us we know how to manage things.
Right, we can't innovate, we can't do anything for ourselves.
Yeah.
So we have to import our own progress and build up and so on. So so Q, what do you think about this though?
Well, I'm looking at both of you over there, and I'm saying to myself, this is why, even though I'm not a Rasta, this is why I respect Rasta, because Rasta has shown over and over that they know where they come from, they know where they intend to go, and they are vocal about it. Okay, so I'm proud to be a part of the Rasta movement, even though I'm not a Rasta, right?
Yes.
I am a black man,
That's
a black
true.
conscious
That's true.
man, and I wear my locks because it is my natural hair.
True.
Okay, so having said that, I say all that to say I'm proud of the way you started this, because you brought it right back to Africa. You brought it right back to the roots and showed that they all started with us. When we are motivated by greed or ignorance or easily influenced by outside forces, this is what tends to happen. And I like the similarity because it is similar. This is what is happening now. Here are our leaders who are supposed to be knowledgeable of to their history and progressing their people forward. And when I say our leaders, I don't just mean St. Kitts and Nevis, I mean the Caribbean.
Regionally.
You understand? I mean the Caribbean. All of our leaders are just waiting for handouts. You understand? We somehow latched on to this thing about citizenship by investment, okay? So you're going to get citizenships and you're going to they're going to invest. But look at how they say they invest. They come in. Recently we had a man here who is a local individual who is doing a business, and that business has vast potential for the future, okay, in terms of the boating industry. And the system is fighting him down. But these investors come now, the system is saying, we are going to give you a 10-year lease. What is 10-year lease for a kind of project like that? You understand? And ongoing. But we're going to get, and not asking, not trying to negotiate, just telling him, this is what we're going to give you, a 10-year lease. But when the investors come, what do they get? we're hearing about 90-something year lease. You understand? Lease of this and lease of that and all kind of stuff. And our leaders, they're tax exempt, you understand? Whereas this local is, they're taxing him, you understand?
Right.
They owe him monies, and instead of paying him so he could pay the tax, they withhold those monies and the tax is going up. This is what we do to our own people, so that is the similarity, you understand?
Right. So, and you could see who are doing it, that now we are labeling as leaders, you know, but try not to use the term leaders too much sometimes, because I think the whole idea of leaders, that should be a topic all by itself.
Well, people have been saying that.
But we do have guys who say they are politicians and,
Yes.
you know, they are elected and this is what we have to deal with. So here it is that we have some very similar situation that went on prior to the slave trade, and now in the same region where our ancestors were sold, persecuted, oppressed, and so on, now have maybe offsprings from those persons who did the atrocities, those colonizers now coming back again in a different form. Now they are investors and developers and so on. But we could see the similarity when it comes to the negotiation. Now, I don't know if it is that we lack negotiation skills. I don't know. But maybe, I don't know if we are overwhelmed with greed and want for power and stuff like that. So we don't think about even the moral code for society.
But hear this, God. Here's the thing, and this is what people try to come at me with, or they would come at you with. Oh, but you're not the leader, you know. They have to run a country. You got to make money. How they going to survive?
That's why I say we're too ignorant to understand. That's what they're thinking. Like, we are ignorant. Let me not just say we're ignorant. We're stupid people. So we don't understand what it is that they have to do. Mind you, before they were elected, they were among the same stupid people. You know, and then as soon as they get elected, they become, it's like you watch the movie The Matrix. They were, a chip was plugged into them, and now they become scholars.
They're going to a different stage.
You know, we need to shut that down.
But hear this, they're only scholars among us. But when they when they deal with the descendants of those who oppressed us, they're stupid people again. I mean, you see the conundrum? So there were, and we're only using this, we're not using this literally. We're using this figuratively. We're saying, they say we're ignorant, we're stupid. But as Agard said, okay, so we were all stupid once. But from the moment you got elected, all of a sudden you're brilliant. You're more brilliant than those who you came from, who are now stupid. But now, when you see those people who are the descendants of the oppressors and you sit down with them, all of a sudden you lose the brilliance that you say you have, and you become stupid again when you're dealing with them, and they can twist you and turn you. This should not be the case.
Bamali got a song called Slave Jiver. The table is turned.
Yes.
Catch a fire, you're going to get burned. As you just saying there, Brother Quinn, I watch that there in the sense how I outlined in that response. I find basically the political emphasis in the region itself have been discarded from this full attention that it was raised as, when I say raised, are you looking at the workers' plight that apply within the region? And we're talking from the emphasis of the 1935 coming up to where we be today. Even before the emphasis of the 1935, because when we look at some of these revolutions that have been inquired, of the Haiti revolution and others that inquire the other parts of the region, it outlined that we ain't supposed to be in that kind of oppressive way in life to this time. That's why we see, and if we combine our strength together, as was being visioned by the Haiti revolution that stated all African inheritance that are free of enslavement are willing, have the right to come to Haiti to stand within that liberation. No, for our people did not take up that initiative, which in that we are able to turn a different light from Haiti being paid that kind of compensation to them criminal gangsters called French You see, and these are the things that we gotta be over on the level of what we people have aware of these damages to humanity. So if we really serious, because I for one will not let a politician deter me to where we must have our right standard. And to this day, not even one of them politicians have the gall to say they will nationalize the land for the benefactors of the young generation to come.
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched that, because I've always said if you want to empower your people, you begin to empower them by land ownership. Okay, and you relieve some of these taxes, and if you relieve some of these taxes off of your people, then your people can use their imagination and progress forward. Stop impeding your people.
Yes,
Anyway,
sir.
we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, it's back to you again, Agar.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
We did not show you with Fruta. Fresh. The juice with the great flavor. What? Nothing nice like Fruta. The best juice come from the nature. Where fun and flavor collide. Perfect thing for nice up the vibe. Live Fruta full, yeah, that's my style. With Fruta, every sip, leave a smile.
Live fruitful. Look for us on the shelf with our new packaging. Enjoy 100% natural juice flavor. It's so fresh.
Live Fruta full with Fruta.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
It's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in how we talk. It's in the meaning in our spot. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are, 'cause the rhythm of life keeps bumping.
And the time is 10:33, and it's back to those two individuals in the studios. Back to you, Mr.
Yeah, man,
Agard.
bless again.
Yeah.
Again, thanks for the listeners. I'm Ras Agard, and we have here with us Ras Aya, for those of you who are just tuning in. And we're reasoning about, well, we started talking about Black History Month, and then we are now looking at some parallels between the slave trade, as they call it, and the elite groups that were kidnapping and selling people, for stuff, for guns, for arms, and looking to see how it is similar to the SSZ, that we have read the act and see some similarities that is about to go down in our federation.
Yeah.
So, once you're listening, just think about that just for a minute, because it is kind of showing us that we have this mindset that we have to import progress, we have to import value, and once we lay down that foundation for the youths and them, it's going to be very difficult for them to overturn it in the coming future, where innovation should be a driver, but the fact that you have to import progress and value, it lessens that idea concerning innovation and development in your own space with your own people. We are exporting our excellence. We have said that in shows before. And we are importing value and progress, and therefore killing the whole essence to innovate. So we just here reasoning about that and looking at some of the similarities to show that by the time you allow developers to come in and however you acquire the land so that they can acquire it, that again is another issue. And the stories I've heard is quite troubling. But I don't know if I'm permitted to speak about that, so I'll just leave that alone. So
well, as long as what you say, here's the thing: as long as what you say, they're factual, then you can speak them. But if you're not sure they're factual,
I'm not sure.
Then
I'm not sure.
Leave it alone.
And I'm not sure in the sense that I do not have any document to prove such.
But one thing can be factual, though, Agard and Quinn, and it's something called centralization of power. I've been eminent to speak on this here generally in face of all the politicians. Then where are we being protected when these things apply to our region? And see now, here in the moments that these kind of deals that require some kind of project development towards expanding towards a different change in how your development going within your whole your country. And when you look at this, that development won't be prosperous for the people of where it's going to live. Finding all this info that is required is just to create a sham within offshore money running into our shore. We don't have none to provide on. So I think we live in off as service providers.
Yeah. But we see this coming, because when you look at the idea that a hotel would have its own water and its own electricity, its own power, its own water, and its own security, because this is what the SSZ speak to, then the fact that you as the gatekeeper for the federation is not providing these services and utilities for these people, it means then that you're sending a message to us that you have no interest in providing, and the future generation is supposed to see now that those who went before had no interest into developing the country or the federation to the point that they can have these services being sold or offered to developers and so on. Instead, they're providing their own water, setting up their own water, I guess, to these desal plants, their own electricity, and their own team of security. So, I just think that these similarities are too close.
This morning, when I was coming to work, I saw a young individual on Central Street, and he was speaking, and I heard him before I saw him.
The kind of weirdness with all of that, then you look like you're just hating on the government or whoever the individual might be responsible for that particular area. But the reality is real. I mean,
reality is reality.
It's right there. Like, for instance, St. Kitts, as we have our geography here, we know, and I know this for a fact, I don't have to have the document here. I've walked these mountains, and we have a lot of springs, a lot of natural springs. We have the Dudan Pan right there, spring in 365. Every day of every year, that is just a spring of water that we are not collecting even one bottle. Not even 1 gallon we're collecting to supply our people.
And we don't preserve our area.
We're not preserving it, and it's just there. I mean, what country in the world would have such a natural resource as water and not preserve it and not take advantage of it? But yet you prefer to spend money to build a plant to take seawater and turn it into water.
We're waiting for some foreign entity to come and say, oh, look, I just discovered that, and let's do this, and let's do that, and then you hear our government saying...
But it go back to our we do not have that zeal to innovate, because wouldn't it show that at least we're trying to take advantage of the land as is already, where we have these springs and we can build what we have to build, set up what we have to set up in order to use that water, even to supply these same developers. But instead, we just come up with the idea, we hear about desal plant. desal plants for places like maybe Anguilla and St. Martin that don't have mountain.
That left when chewing and it.
You know what I mean?
So you need a support in
But
that.
we have springs of water in St. Kitts.
Yeah.
But again, you say springs of water. Remember, if you look at the area of Stormford, it's two mountains that travel within spring water. You know?
That's what I'm telling you. I
Two
mean,
mountains in itself.
I live in Old Road. We have two known ones.
Not besides Old Road, and it could still lead over to your
Right.
So that's just to show you, these people are not doing the things that used to require water sources of catching. And these used to have catchment, and we don't even try to implement these kind of things.
Yeah.
As a way of safeguarding and building a better sources of system towards water resilience and the pattern of what we say. Now we say every job count, but you're still charging people high price.
Look, if you look at that hill behind there, just behind Shadwell, that slope going up there. I'm sure all of you remember.
Alois.
Or when we went up there as young boys, all those Mansiport trees lined up there, and there were catchment. There was this catchment on the top that came down a certain way, and another catchment, and that came down a certain way. Why in this modern era couldn't they do a bigger catchment and have it from the top and it goes down, and by the time you reach to the bottom, you have about 10 catchment, and all of them are big. And as the one below gets low, it is fed from the one above. Gravity.
Yeah.
But no, they saw these older things and they just finished with them. And instead of saying, okay, that's a good idea, if it could work, then let's make it bigger then. No.
Well, you think that make it bigger for who?
No, but remember, we have to import value. We have to import progress. We're not supposed to do it for ourselves.
With the innovation.
But Agard, it seems as if though we don't even have to import progress. It seems we have to import ideas too.
It seems so.
Yeah, it seems even the very idea. You see things in front of your face, but if a black person, one of our own, say, why don't you do that? It is ignored. But when they come and they say, do that, they say, why is that? Why is that? I'm asking both of you. Why is it that we have this mentality that when it comes to our own people who we look across and we see the same pigmentation, we don't take them, but when we look and we see a lighter pigmentation, bearing in mind you, that lighter pigmentation came out of us, you know. But why is it that we're going the opposite way?
They said black is bad and what?
It's all this psychological
addition there that face. And when you look at it, you ask, why is it? The Willerlin syndrome is a better method that really capture of the question you ask, why?
Yeah.
Him stated, in 100-year time beyond, my method will be so significant to generation to come.
Yeah.
And these are the things that are occurring into this stage of mind.
Yeah.
And we have a psychological damage upon a lot of we people. Even leaders who are say they aspire in leadership, they're really damaged, but you see, they want to work to maintain a better relationship with one another for the betterment of the nation, not for personal gain. Because personal gain won't give you that what we require to develop. It will only cause damage than what you see for your own person. But I know in time with these kind of initiatives that align, we have to really put something much more into our creativity. And looking at to what I heard all in Bachelor era, they were relying on their self-determination, not relying on something outside of their determination. So it was able to see that where people were putting together as a force, we had work that could bring us to develop our own nation. Now we're looking at how it's being handed out, trying to see if we can have that initiative to our own self.
Now, yesterday something happened, right? A friend of mine showed me a picture of our heads of government heading to that warship over there, you know. And I said to him, and I must say it here, I said, look, if I was one of those leaders, I would have not gone on that warship. Whoever wants to go, let them go. We're in a you want to go, but what going on that warship is going to do for me? What is it going to do for my country? What No, okay, you can go, but when you go onto the warship, there's a psychological aspect to it, and that is intimidation. When you go there and they're showing you all this thing, and you know what they're subliminally saying to you? Look at what we have that we can deal with you with. You understand? In case you don't fall. They're not saying it to you outright,
I
eh?
know.
But this is
the
the
action-
subliminal
the action
message.
out there is showing you,
The
like,
subliminal, and I'm sure someone is on the ship is going to say, and this has ballistic capabilities of doing so and so, and we can bomb someone from so and so. You understand what I'm saying? What is that going to do to enhance my country?
Well, Quint, you seriously might be underestimating the psychological conditioning that was done for the past
400
400
years.
years, you know.
Yeah.
Because if we're just 165 years out of that slavery, that dehumanizing time, and now we are seeing this type of behavior, you have to understand that that behavior that you're seeing is from those persons who have not graduated above the conditioning. They are just basically pawns playing in that game.
But, hey, God, let's be realistic, because I've said it on numerous occasions. 400 years of brainwashing is easily discarded.
Exactly. So I'm just saying, and that's why I said we're just 165 years away from that.
Yeah.
And if, as Aya just said, in the Willie Lynch letters, he made claim that, you know, this, what he has done, the format that he has laid out would go on for about the next 300 years.
generation.
So, mind you, there's no politician within the Caribbean region who would sit down and understand that they are just following the format.
Yeah.
Because the idea of people electing you, the idea of, you know, maybe having money and status and all these different things, override all of that.
Yes, yeah.
And once you override that, the whole idea to want to go on the warship in itself is, you know, not even to reach, even before they reach, the idea to want to go in itself shows exactly where they are.
And they don't see the psychological linkage that, look, boy, when I look and I see the state of, let me jump from there to this. Recently, yesterday, I think it was, I heard Mark Brantley making a statement, and remember, Mark Brantley is the one who first proposed the SSZ, as far as we're aware, okay? Now, yesterday I heard Mark Brantley say that Nevis is heading to the moon, right?
Wow.
And I said to myself, it pricked my ear. I wanted to hear what he was going to say now. But here is what Mark Brantley is saying. Some company, I think it's from Germany, I'm not too sure, somebody would have to, I think it's from Germany though, are supposed to come to Nevis. And they're supposed to set up this thing that is going to be dealing with making rockets or whatever, okay? But here's my ears pricked up when I heard that. I'm thinking, oh well, this sounds kind of interesting. But then I heard this. I heard this rocket thing is going to be taking DNA and sending it into space. And then I understood what this was all about. And I said to myself, wow, whose DNA? Why are they coming here? Recently there was this, I played this clip that showed the U.S. was giving some money to an African place, right? Almost 2 billion, right? And the tie-in was, when we give you this $2 billion to deal with AIDS and whatever, and we know how AIDS got into Africa, you know, let's not fool ourselves, okay? They come up with these things, and when they realize the disaster it's creating for them, all of a sudden it winds up in Africa, and they say, oh, it's them primitive people, okay? So now they're going to give you aid, $2 billion, to deal with something that, as far as we're unaware, they put there, mind you. But now we're going to help you to get rid of it, so we're going to give you $2 billion. But to get this $2 billion, we are supposed to have access to your minerals. That's one. But here's even deeper. All of the information that you get, mind you, this $2 billion is supposed to be for you. You were taught that the fact that you're going to get $2 billion and you're going to have access to our minerals, which to me doesn't make any sense, because you know they're going to get more out of your minerals than the $2 billion is going to give you. But it shows you, again, the mindset, and that's why I'm glad Agard started with this. Okay? So here now, here's the other aspect of it. The $2 billion that we're going to give you, all the information that you get in terms of dealing with the patients to deal with AIDS, the U.S. wants it. And I ask the question, why do you want it? You know what that implies? Remember the Tuskegee thing?
Experience.
You remember what they did?
Yeah, the Tuskegee experiment.
Yeah, they brought their doctors so here's what they want. See, this is what makes sense now. They give you this $2 billion. Why would they want the information? Isn't it logical that they want the information because something is going to be done now and they want to be able to monitor it?
It's all about keeping you in check, you know.
I mean, why is it that, so come back to Nevis again with this, we're going to be going in space, they're going to come here from wherever and they're going to come into Nevis and they're going to set up this thing, right? And you're going to be taking DNA and putting it, whose DNA? For what? We know that these people have been studying our DNA so that they can survive. Why are we allowing these things? And then you say in terms of progress. I want you all to go and listen to Mark his address yesterday and hear it for yourselves. These are the things that we are supposed to be concerned about and ask questions.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, we could talk about them all there in that light.
Yeah.
But the question that would be lingering at the end of it is, so what do we do about it?
That is the question. That is why I put up that last thing, you know. So what do we do?
What do we do about it? Should we start now a movement where we start to filter persons who are offering themselves to be elected service people? Should there be some sort of psychological
mechanism?
Evaluation.
Some sort of psychological evaluation to analyze whether or not these persons are fit.
Genuine.
Well, genuine. I don't think we can measure genuine.
Yes, we could.
I don't even think that we have, because that would suggest a cost.
Not
you know,
the essence of genuine is that you have a community orientation that will relate that person who will be that representation. Be always inflowing with the community, not when it's fit them right. It's on the basis where you must able have dialogue to the community in issues that comprise of nation development.
So don't you believe it, these politicians went in with a genuine idea that they're gone to serve the people?
That's the indication they have set out to do.
But do you think that
Good morning,
that's
Queen.
how they started?
Yeah, good day.
Good day.
Hello, caller.
Good morning, Queen. No, Queen, we really from the same village, you know, because in my mind I had the strategic project in mind to talk about, and you talk about it. But the guest there asks about psychological evaluation, but it had nothing to do with their mind, it's their pocket. Our leaders, it's not their mind that thing, it's their pocket. Their pocket is what's getting them in trouble. That's why they're sell us out.
Yeah.
And nothing to do with their mind.
And you took the words out of my mouth too, because that is why I was saying, that is why I answered him by saying it's not even so much a psychological thing, because that would mean it incurs a cost where you have to do the evaluation. But it's about, and to answer the question again that you asked, Ega, I don't believe that they're going with the genuine feeling that they want to make things better for us.
Right.
I think they're going with the old political thing that I'm going to go in and I'm going to see what I get for myself. I could be wrong, but that is how I see it playing out.
But let me ask you, do you
Let
think
the
that
caller,
the
let the caller
the caller
finish.
there still?
Yeah.
But
Go ahead, caller.
they prove to us day in and day out that it's not really about the betterment of the country or the people of the country. It's enriching themselves. Because you have examples upon examples where you show that these people going to other people's country, they're coming making with things that glitter look like gold, but you know their motive. I mean, you talk about the AIDS and in Africa, and they come and You already know the motive, so why do we keep falling for the same old truth?
I don't know.
Isn't it because we greedy?
Well,
Have a good day. I'll continue to
yeah.
listen.
So to you,
Thanks.
Agard, you was wanting to make a point.
No, well, to add to what the sister was just there saying, I mean, the greed is quite clear. I mean, it's crystal clear now. And the idea that to question the genuine nature of those who are offering themselves to be elected and what's not. It's very hard to measure at the beginning, but then you could see the actions that actually would speak a little louder
Actions speak louder
than
words.
what you hear.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I was asking, what do we do? Because, and I started off by talking about the psychological intervention, because it starts with the mind. So even though the sister was saying with the pockets, but the mind deal with the pocket as well.
And the mind must be able
Right.
to override the
Right.
tendency to lead towards that.
Because the mind could say the mind could
and
say
the mind
no.
could say no.
You know,
yeah.
so it start there, but and then you know, should we even start to put certain laws in place where if any government official is found taking bribes or anything like that from developers.
But God,
But I'm just trying out.
But God, isn't that what should have been happening? With this regime that is in now, those are the things they said they were going to do, isn't it? So, Aya?
They say from the get-go before they even enter into the
That's
ground.
what they said. We're going to see integrity in life. We're going to.
Yeah, the Prime Minister, who is now our Prime Minister, he had stated on the campaign trail that they had signed on what do they call it?
Memorandum of
understanding.
Yeah.
That any one of their members who are caught within any shady deal will be dismantled from the moment of the party and its function to the administration. And seeing that things are being discounted like this from previous of what we require since 2022 to now, we can't see not even one have been found in that aspect, and they're being able to sack. But from what you said, God, I would like to put them in jail.
Well, that's where I was heading to, because remember I started by talking about the psychological intervention, the psychological evaluation, and then actually try to squeeze in there some policies, some laws that must be policed, and then there is also the result of it, the penalties, the disciplinary things that goes when, so whether it is jail, I don't know if jail
should be in it. Let them go to jail.
Well, I have to give back whatever, but something must be done, because it's quite clear that the precedence has been set.
Pandy went jail, you know. Pandy went jail. Pandy, a former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, I thought about somebody in Sakits.
He's the only one, Quentin Ibrahim. Anyone else you see when jail beyond Pandy had that initiative? No. So
the thing is, I hope Greg could call in on this one, because the whole idea too that as a people who go without the Almighty, works and different things, they're bound to suffer certain consequences and so on.
No matter
so,
how exceed they be.
Right, but at the same time, the fact that this situation is live, this is present, this is live now. We do have corrupt politicians. That is quite clear within the whole Caribbean region. Yeah, that is quite clear. We're going to have elections next year, maybe it's later this year. I don't know. But again, people who are there trying to remain for whatever reason, and then the others who want to get in. So I think that before we even have another election, we need to look at some of these areas about the psychological evaluation. We need to put certain policies and laws in place to at least limit that situation where bribes and so on would have us in this situation like the slave trade when it started. So the whole thing is that. And this is why when Marcus Garvey said what he said, and the other guy who said what he said about forgetting your past. If we forget our past, and this seemed to be part of it too, because we don't want to teach certain history in school. We don't want to entertain certain historical things that led us to where we are. So the generation to come, more than likely going to forget it all.
And I'm glad you said that, because when you started, you referenced Black History Month, And recently we had an individual, friend of mine I know quite well, and he was speaking about Black History Month. And I said to him, I do not celebrate Black History Month because because look, I know our history. And here's it. I'm not saying that when Black History Month comes around, one should not see some significance to it. But I'm saying this is what they do to brainwash us and keep us in a shell. They say, oh, we give you Black History Month. And then every year when Black History Month comes around, since we've been young boys to now, we're hearing the same thing going round and round. And there's so much, as Agard said, that is not being taught to us. But that part they don't want to bring.
True.
So what they're doing is whitewashing and cleaning the history that they give to you in that month. So that you can have all the Black History Months for a million years to come, and you're getting more and more into oppression. It's just like you're seeing more and more churches being built, and more corruption, more crime, more this, more that. So I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to delve into a question that Agard asked, and a question that I asked one of our callers when he's called and he said, look, you see that invasion into Venezuela? The world has changed. And the first thing I asked him, okay, so if the world has changed, how do we as a black people survive? So that is what Agard is asking. So we're going to take this bit of a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to try to delve into how do we as a black people survive?
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
From February 1st to February 28th, the TDC Home and Building Depots are offering 3 products for its 2 products of the month promotion. Yes, we know, it's unbeatable. Also on sale with the Canon Pixma 2110 Megatank printer with USB printing capabilities, soft touch button commands, and multi-page printing per minute. Originally priced at $1,240, now $930. Save $310. Available at the TDC Home and Building Depots on the Frigate Bay Road in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Estate in Nevis.
With the natural you are, the best juice come from the nature. Where fun and play not collide. Perfect thing for nice up.
3 minutes moving away from the 11 o'clock hour, so it's back to
bit and what you asked, Quinn, we can get this mission where you're doing some stuff, some activities for the month. How
area to apply our congregation ISIS in the Derby region, so we had a nice small reasoning gathering. There we are, and I pay homage to the ancestors at the aspect of 400 years of the transatlantic slave trade that occurred within the French movement that implied within 1625. And knowing of that, we are able to set up ourselves within highlighting that initiative towards of the French being applying their occupation on our ancestors. Now we see the 22nd, we had the 23rd, we went to the Ego Timaris Primary School located in the Tabernacle. And I was able to make a presentation of books written by a local author. The book is presented as the highlight of the Brinston Hill architectural work and the information that he played within a historical format of Singis in his defense to safeguard from even of the time of the invasion and all those other wars that applied within the colonizers' time. So I look at that in the books presentation at the Egerton Primary School. It was well received from the teachers and the students. We were able to impact a message up to the youths them to safeguard their heritage and make sure that they analyze themselves as a people towards world affairs, that we don't even embrace racism. We must stamp out racism. Even though we say black eternal race, that ain't emphasizing that we're practicing racism. We just identifying who we are as a people, ethnicity, and the cultural awareness that we have to bring out as a nation going forward. And then we have Tuesday, we were able to go within doing the graveside visit that was yesterday. We pay homage to our martyrs of the Nyabinghi Tiakasiada and the Rastafari community, and laid flag by the graveside, and even we chant psalms just to reminisce of the great attribution in the time of the physical, both male and female, of that aspect of the Rastafari and of the Nyabinghi Tiakasiada. So I now today are moving on our food hamper distribution island-wide to give our elderly and needy, and we will be starting from 1 p.m. today, and then we have Thursday a joint collaboration with members of the Gideon Force and SPAC of the agricultural farming base within the Rastafari community. We'll be able to come and do an initiative at the garden home to give back as a part venture of the community orientation. So this is something that we welcome on our grounds within that collaboration as Rastafari, as not knowing now that we see things need to be standing out to support other institutions, not just our own, but institutions of our people who are not of Rastafari, but must be guarded by I and I as an African brothers and sisters. So this within Thursday, and then we will be from 4 in the afternoon, where Nyabinghi have to be on the grounds of the garden home to reminisce chants for the ones them who in the garden home as resident. And then I have the Friday again coming along to give a books donation at the Kayan Secondary School, and that will be from the assembly hour within 8:30 a.m. And that presentation I will able to impact, as we will see eventually that we need to safeguard our heritage to the younger generation. And that is a lot of things that we're finding, that the school, as you outlined earlier, the educational system need to be impacted towards our heritage and not just pushing something that is not generally on our heritage as a people. And that is where we, as the Nyabinghi Tiakasiada, find it very important to partake the information of education as a venture to the generation to come. And then Saturday we have our congregation going over to the Nevis shore. We are celebrating that impactful victory of the Morning Star, as we call it, the Grand Rising Star, that occurred in Nevis, where our African heritage were able to fight against the French invasion or occupation to take over at Nevis in 1706. And these are history that we must be reformed to stand with our ancestors who were able to be brilliant and fought against these. Even though they were fighting on behalf of the Britannia, what we call Britain. Britannia meaning robbers, eh? So we're telling it straight out. And this is where we see that our people must be highlighted and be recognized of the great sacrifice that they made and the struggle that is still continuing to this day. So we will be on Nevis from 5 p.m. in the afternoon on the 28th, and then we'll come to the closure of our activities on the 1st of March to highlight the Battle of Adwa, 1896. That is victory. It takes 2 days, and on the 3rd of March was the celebration to mark that victory over the Italian forces in 1896, led by Emperor Melon II, Empress Taito, and Ras Makenen. These were brilliant revolutionaries who were able to safeguard the Ethiopian sovereignty. So we are safeguarding Singhis and Nevis sovereignty against any colonizers or any invaders or any pirates who try to discard our generation. So we say with the Nyabinghi Tiakasiada, and that will be our monthly gathering for the Ohio, and we will be remnants on our victory in the Battle of Adwa. And in 1896, we had something called the uprising, that called the Portuguese uprising. So you see, much thing that occurred in Africa in heritage is occurred in our time as ancestors who fought brilliantly to safeguard the heritage and the rights of the people living on this Western Hemisphere. So we give thanks for being moving with this aspect to support community orientation as a black African people and as an African heritage. I mean, I'm a descendant here now, me a ascendant.
Right.
Me come to ascend the royal standard of our African history. Because it's time now we speak it out. And me not been taught why in school, but we search while we come within the Rastafari community. And we're thankful for all who play a pivotal role for guiding I in the life that we hold today. For all the elders, thanks a lot. Bless everyone. Give thanks.
Yeah, Aya, before you leave, let me say, whether you're aware of it or not, in all that you outlined is the answer to how we survive. One is that we must learn to teach our history. We must remember and respect our elders. We must make sure that our people unify, remembering things like what happened on Nevis, what happened in Ethiopia. It is those things that will embed in our mind, in our psyche. The fight from yesterday is the fight today and will be the fight ongoing.
Truly.
Yeah. So yes, within what you said are answers to how we survive.
Give thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem to have a busy schedule ahead of you. And yes, I more than likely would be a part of the gathering up by the garden hall.
Yeah. So let the brother move now and go where. Remember, I told you when I left.
Yeah. So we have a next guest here with us.
I'm speaking to the other individual. Remember, I told you when Aya leaves, you take his seat. So, yeah. So go ahead, Agard, while he takes his seat.
Well, our next guest is just settling in. So when he settles in, he will introduce himself and take up from where Aya left. Now, one of the things Aya said that I would like to even maybe clarify a little bit is that he mentioned not being racist, and some people don't understand the difference between racist and race consciousness.
Yeah.
It's good to be race conscious and not racist.
I agree.
And sometimes race consciousness could be mistaken for racist.
Yes, people tend to do that because people will hear me and say, "Oh, Quint is racist." No, and I gave them a story that sort of outlined that some time ago. Hello, caller.
Yes, good day to everybody. It's me again, and once more.
Yeah, Greg, I'm glad you called in, so let's go.
Yeah, greetings in the name of Jesus
Christ.
Christ.
Blessed love.
Now, what I'm trying to say is this. Whatever brainwashing happened, whether it be for 400 years or whatever, and that's not the problem. That's not the problem. That is a symptom of the problem, but it's not the problem itself. Same thing to do with the survival of so-called black people, which is also true of so-called white people, Indians, Chinese, everybody. The survival of us all as well all depends on the Bible only. We look to everywhere else except the Bible for our answers and solutions. When the Bible is the only source of all the answers and solutions we need for all of life. I mean, you look to the Bible only for such, all the brainwashing of whatever took place would evaporate immediately, and our survival, Jesus Christ will bless us all. And that is what it takes for any group of people, and all the human race as well, for our survival. What the Bible says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And the Bible tells us that Jesus Christ is the truth, who sets us free from falsehood, from sin, from hell, and from everything else that is destructive to us. And he's the one who blesses us. So I don't look at these brainwashing, and I know what our survival depends on. Where any group of people are concerned, and that is the Bible only, which the Holy Spirit worked through only to bless us all in Jesus Christ. So that is what I really want to say, because it's only on the Bible my eyes are on for all that we need, because it is all in the Bible for our preservations and blessings in Jesus Christ. Okay, thank you very much. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, blessed Greg. We thanks for the sound here. Even Haile Selassie made mention that, the Bible is really the answer to all things, and as you mentioned, no one is seeking to follow that path. As much as it may be, as much as it is the way, even the very people who are claiming to follow it are not even doing the things contained in it. So basically it's to say so I don't see how the leaders then would even ever consider it. And the very people who call themselves Christians don't even follow it. So we're in a predicament.
We have another caller. Hello, caller.
Yeah.
Grand rising, guys.
Yeah.
Quinton, your guest. I was trying to get in earlier, but the phone line didn't permit me. You see this word psychology, it's not to take slightly at all. For man to write in a book, to know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And this is what have us as a people, I am talking about we as Africans, in that space, in a book. To know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Let me say this, guys. Before the Bible, before colonization, Africa and Africans were in their space thriving and building. Before the Bible, Quint, you played two clips this morning about the Council of Nicaea, 325 AD. Well, before the Council of Nicaea, we had Timbuktu, we had Alexandria, and all of these other things. Even Plato and Pythagoras, they studied in Africa before the Council of Nicaea. So here we are today. And as for your last caller, he emphasized the Bible way and Jesus. Jesus. This is staggering, This is staggering, guys. We so got to get out of that. And we cannot get out of it unless we recognize that we are the orality of everything. The Bible was copied from our civilization, our culture, our traditions.
It was not only copied, but the pigmentation of the deity was changed, and everything else was changed to conform away from us and represented as them.
Right. They flipped the script on us, guys. The script was flipped on us, and our people are in this book. And we haven't even recognized, or most of our people have not recognized that all that this book outlines, it's like, it's only in this book these things happen. They only happen in the book. I mean, when you look at nature, guys, and I'm going to be brief today because I want you guys to have your moment. When we look at nature, nature isn't our teacher. Now, look at the four elements of life: earth, air, water, fire, spirit. Are we not the makeup of these elements? And to tell us that this deity in a book created man. When we are the representation of the elements of life: earth, air, water, fire, spirit. Nature is our teacher, guys. And we need to move away from this theology, the literature that was given to us by murderers. And we don't bother to look at those people who gave us this literature. And we swallowed all of that wholesale. But I appreciate what you guys are doing, Quint, Agard, and Rasaya. We shouldn't accept, well, at least not me, because, I don't look at February as just a month to have Black History. Because even what we are doing here now, we are changing the narrative. We have to go back. We have to go back. And this is why Journey sometimes said, Quinn, our unity going to cripple their misery. But our unity have to come with
that they are dealing with. And we have another guest who is sitting in that place. I would let him introduce himself.
Greetings to ones and ones listening in Radio Land via the World Wide Web. That's iChus. You know what I mean? A member of the Bingy House as well. You know what I mean? Just sitting in to continue the conversation. Give thanks.
Yeah, man. Right, so just to bring you up, we really started talking about Black History Month. And one of the things we were coming to, well, let me just say a little bit first before we move forward, because I don't want the caller to feel like we didn't listen.
Yeah.
So, yes, that contribution, that was a good reasoning. And, you know, as the caller before him would have spoken, maybe somewhere along the way in one of these shows, we could have a small panel debate concerning, you know, some of these biblical things that we often talk about. Because we're going to always have callers calling in to promote the Bible, and then we're going to have callers calling in to not promote the Bible. So maybe one of these days, it's just a little suggestion that we could have maybe a 2-4 panel, and we could have that little debate going forward.
But that is up to you, God.
Right. Okay. Well,
you have two.
Quint, I'm glad you give me the
slots.
green light for that. So, we're gonna do that.
Look at the guests we have today. Who invited them? You.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that, and so everybody could kind of get a listening onto, you know, what is on the mind of some of these people who call in and make the contribution, because I know they're not calling in with any evil intent. This is what they believe, and they're sharing it with us according to how they hear the discussion going. So we have our guests here with us now to continue to talk about Black History Month. Now, this famous actor named Morgan Freeman, I think it is, had a statement making about the Black History Month, and he's saying that he don't think that our history should be relegated to a month. Yeah. And we should basically done with that. You also feel like we should just stop calling people white people and black people and so on. So, what do you think about that?
Well, the first one of the Black History Month, you know what I mean? I too support that in terms of the 1 month thing. Just like we say, Mother's Day, it shouldn't be just the one day of the year.
It's 365, right?
Right, because she did and she does things right. True, so we as black people should be thinking about empowering ourselves, recognizing the greatness that our ancestors would have done. 365, rather than confined to 1 month and find inspiration and try to be creative to highlight black history in just 1 month. But we should look at history in general throughout the year and try to highlight as much as we can as it pertains to our story and the greatness that our ancestors would have done throughout the years, not just recognize a month and the ones who are born in the month are close to the month, you know, but recognize activities throughout the year. For example, Emancipation Day. You know what I mean? We kind of got that in a kind of topsy-turvy celebration where we look at the first Monday when it should be the 1st of August. So even if systematically we want to observe the first Monday for the festivities, but the 1st of August should stand out for what it is. So that in itself, not being recognized in that way, loses part of our history, and people don't see it as it is or as it's supposed to be. So I support the
no Black History Month.
The No Black History Month.
But let me ask this though, because we've seen our people throughout the year where we have let's go to the end of the year where you have like VAT days, or some companies may have sale and different things and so on. And what our people do is that they go and take advantage of the situation. Now, the fact that we have a month that we now dub as Black History Month, don't you think that in the interim, in the meantime, before we done away with the month, we should take advantage of the month, maybe within the school setting, to say, for instance, there'll be no other subject be taught in the school but Black history for the entire month. And basically, within the workplace, you demonstrate. So basically, it's like a VAT day, in a sense, but you have a whole month to demonstrate, to do stuff, because we could see clearly that they're calling it Black History Month, because I want to agree with you on Ian Morgan Freeman, but I'm just saying that while the month is still yet called Black History Month, shouldn't we take advantage of it and not just dress up one day? Like some people go to church and they dress up one day, the politicians might dress up one day, and some people might do something one day. But why not take the entire month? Take the entire month to showcase our Black consciousness, our so-called blackness then, and not racistness, but our race consciousness, and to basically let that go down to the generations to come, because it is Black History Month according to how the celebration going. So even if we say we agree with Morgan Freeman,
right,
I don't think next year gonna come and we're not gonna have Black History Month. So the fact that we have it,
right,
shouldn't we take advantage of it? That's
right.
really the question.
You made a great point. In not turning away with it, but build on it, in the sense where go deeper rather than the superficial activities.
Right.
Try to make it more a bigger thing. Right? So I like the idea. Get more deeper within the society.
Let me throw a mic wrench into that whole philosophy now, because I'm going to come from a different angle.
Let's
and
hear you, Quint.
I'm going to show you now where they beat you, and then you use a certain aspect to continue beating you, but you feel more grateful. You use VAT Day as an example. Remember, before we didn't have VAT, Then we got VAT because we found ourselves in debt. We couldn't meet the debt, so we wound up in the IMF. And then the IMF said, bring in the VAT. And here is where I'm showing you that they beat you. Let's use a hypothetical here. I'm a slave master. Both of you over there are the slaves. Every month, there's a particular day that whatever mistakes you make on the plantation, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to compile it into one day, and I'm going to beat you on that particular day. Every month this happens. And every month, I give you 100 lashes. But then, after a certain point, someone says to me, man, you're giving them 100 lashes, that's a lot, and so forth. So I take 2 of the months out of the year and I say, I'm not going to give them 100 lashes. I'm going to give them 25 lashes on one month, and I'm going to give them 15 lashes on the other month. And the people are so grateful to be getting less lashes. They don't realize they weren't supposed to be in bondage to be getting any lashes in the first place, Because if our governments had run things fiscally prudently, let's be realistic, had done what they're supposed to do in terms of running a country and not depend on everything external and managing, and there was no corruption and that kind of stuff, we wouldn't have mismanaged our way into the IMF, who then dictates that you're going to do this. So when we get the one-day VAT relief, it is just a matter of you getting less lashes on that day, You understand what it is? When you shouldn't have been getting any lashes in the first place.
Yeah, but the analogy is that people take advantage of the day.
They take advantage of the day.
That's the whole analogy.
But they take advantage of the day because it is less lashes.
Well,
I'm not into the because. Lashes.
I'm not even dealing with the because if we run the because, we have to go down with everything. We have to go down. Why is it we have Boxing Day? Why do we have Carnival? Why are we showcasing clowns?
So then
why do we have masquerade?
So why can't we go there?
And
we might not be able to do that in one. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I totally agree and understand, but I'm just saying that the present situation is that there is a Black History Month. And like for instance, there is I think January the 27th is the remembrance of the so-called Jewish Holocaust. That is on the books. We have all kind of other things on the books. We have Mother's Day, we have Father's Day, we have Day of the Girl Child, Day of the Boy Child. We have all kind of days. And none of them have anything to do with the betterment of us. But yet we celebrate them. And we celebrate them religiously. So the idea is
I don't celebrate them.
Well, I say we figuratively. Because I don't either.
Okay. So it's a matter of choice then.
Right. It is a matter of choice.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that if our governing body and the departments and those people who are in charge of the schools and different things and so on, they are acknowledging that there's a Black History Month. I'm just saying.
And I hear you, and the brother said he hear you, and
right.
we don't disagree with you, but I brought that analogy to broaden the picture to show you where when we accept something, we're accepting something that we shouldn't even have to be
shouldn't
going
have
into
it shouldn't have been on the table.
Yeah.
It should not have been on the table in the first place. But it's on the table.
It's on the table, and I agree with you. Utilize it, and the brother concurred also. Yeah.
Because is to me, it has taken on this shape of playing around instead of seriousness.
Yeah, I agree.
You know? And this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. Instead of just playing around with the idea that we have Black History Month, so you dress up one day, put on some attire and call it African attire.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is not even African attire.
I agree.
You know? And you're playing around with that going to church, you're playing around with that going into parliament, you know, you're playing around with that going maybe to work one day and so on. I see that as a mockery.
I agree.
A play around. So I'm saying if we're gonna have the month, let's take it serious.
And that is why the brother said, and I agree also that we don't really celebrate the month, but we're agreeing with you that if you're gonna have the month, make it be relevant.
Yes.
Stop whitewashing and feeding what we should learn during that month. Hello, caller.
Yes, it's me again. No, I agree with Quint on this issue, where the lashes are concerned. Yes. The thing is that, yes, you may have 2 days where you only get 25. For the rest days, you're getting 100. Okay? Now, where this differ from the Black Month is this. It's like, as he made mention of the VAT there as well. We come to accept the VAT thing because at least on certain days in the year, it's dropped, it's reduced. So maybe because of that, we come to accept the whole VAT idea. That, okay, we will sell for VAT, provided we get certain days reduced VAT. Okay? To me, it's kind of like the lashes.
Yeah.
We will accept the 100 lashes, provided we have 2 days where we only get 25.
Yeah.
Okay? Whereas we should be arguing and fighting against the lashes, period.
Yeah.
And I say the same thing for the VAT too.
Yeah.
Hey, we should be fighting. Whether we get reduced days of VAT or whether we should be fighting to get the VAT thing and other taxes to like land and house tax and so on, and I believe even duties and so on, off of the table. Not come to accept them to be on the table because on some days we get them reduced. No, you need, whether we get reduced yes or not, you need to fight to get them off of the table, period. Okay?
Yeah.
Carla, if I could jump in on you to the VAT situation, I look at it as an insult to the people as well, in the sense that if we got into the mess and the VAT was implemented to help us out of the mess, it's apparent that we have gotten somewhere out of the mess to an extent that they are now introducing VAT days.
Yeah.
So instead of having us scrambling for 1 and 2 days, why not just reduce the VAT across the board?
Yeah, yeah.
For example, we're doing 17%. Why not bring it down to 12
that
or
is what
even
Greg
10%
is saying. Yeah, that is
across
what
the
Greg
board?
is
No, quit me ain't saying that.
Well, no,
I
was saying eliminate it.
Get rid of the VAT. I'm not going to say for no reduce VAT.
That's what I'm saying.
Get rid of it off the table, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying that, but if in the reality, it cannot be removed because it's a benefit to the system, to us, in the sense that monies from the VAT still do things in the country, so to speak, right? Instead of having us killing ourselves to go up there 5 o'clock in the morning to catch a VAT the sale for 1 day in December, why not just reduce the VAT 365 across the board?
But that is like saying, you know, it's impractical to get rid of the lashes. So why not reduce the lashes instead of 100?
And
let's sell it for 50. Because at least you won't get the wheel up and stuff.
And Greg, that is why I was saying when I said you were, but you're right. What I was saying is that Greg is in essence saying what I was saying. We're accepting a lesser because it eases the pressure, but the pressure is still there.
Right. It's still there.
Yeah.
But look, this psychology works with us.
It's like when we're accepting the reduced 100 lashes because we will get less whaling.
Yeah.
But this psychology is in almost all areas in our society. Look for instance, when they wanted to raise the price of bread, what they do is just carry up the price in a kind of excessive way, and then just bring it down gradually and say, you know, I think things really tight for y'all, so we can just bring it down a bit, and then you applaud the persons who carry it up excessively. It's similar to the lashes concept.
It's similar.
You know, and then you start to feel good that the businesses now who had carried the bread price way up now reduce it down just a little bit to where they probably wanted it to go anyway.
Where they probably
and then
wanted
the people
it
now
to go.
applaud them. It's just like one time again, like, no, I'm just showing you we have some serious psychological issues.
Yeah, we do.
Now, remember there was a time when electricity went out and Skellig went ahead and got the electricity back on. That's their job. But yet they had interviews and they were I think they come on one of these platforms here to talk about how good Skellig be and but that's their job. They're supposed to get the electricity back.
And I never could understand this. I'm glad you brought up that. I never could understand service charge. Because what is service charge? Isn't service when you bring the electricity to our home and we consume it? Isn't that what the service is? Isn't it that you maintain the facilities to send the electricity to people's home?
I'm telling you, Queen, this is all over. It's psychological.
Everywhere
but you
find
mentioned
these
service
ways.
charge.
Yeah.
What about the vehicle? What do they call that charge again?
Environmental?
The environmental charge. It's in every area that we function. So that's why I'm saying this I mean, mind you, I used to use this thing as an analogy to show why people take advantage of certain things. But then as you bring the idea that even though they're taking advantage of it, it should not have been on the table in the first place. So I agree with that. Go ahead, Greg.
Another example, for example, another similar one, for example, land and house tax. Do you know if you ain't pay land and house tax, the government could take it to court and take away your land and house? That it really belongs to you because of the land and house tax issue as well. All of these need to go.
But that is why it was implemented in the first place way back during the colonialist era, right? And it's still going on.
But that's the whole thing is that
how come this house and land tax is there, but we still seeing all these abandoned properties, century-old properties there ain't been touched yet? How come the government ain't touching them there, taking them there, and making them available to existing citizens, aspiring citizens, young people want to do things? You know what I mean? So,
but that is a whole nother question because we might see some of them
as
there.
we say, things to question. You know what I mean?
But then
things
again,
the books,
but there's another aspect to it too, because we might see them there and we assume no one is paying, but we don't know. Suppose someone is paying. I'm just saying we don't really know. Yeah.
But Quint, it's a lot of people, for example, a lot of people who owe land and house tax. I know what I'm telling you. And the government could take them any time to court. And the court rule in their favor, which would most likely be. And they lose the land and the house. It ain't happening, no, but it could happen anytime. The threat is there, is a Damocles sword over your head.
The threat is definitely there. It is there.
It's real and present.
Yeah.
You know? And lastly, before I go.
But that would be sad to see they're going to have a promotional and all these abandoned property, they ain't looking into these that could be passed on and be collecting real-time taxes from them. So that would be sad.
Right. Greg, you were wrapping up?
Lastly, before I go, quickly, I would like to say concerning the previous program, the Ebionites were a sect from Judaism and they were never a part of the church. Anyhow, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, but when he says they were never a part of the church, they were part of a church.
That's for another conversation. But, back to Morgan Freeman speech, because it was a really good speech. He also said that, he shouldn't, and this is we just getting back to the Black History Month, whether it should be there or not.
No, but I want us, before you go, us to put emphasis on this part of how do we survive.
We're going back into that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we're going to spin right back into that.
Yeah,
because
that is very relevant.
Why the whole idea that Morgan Freeman said, let's don't call people white and let's don't call people black. Now, it's okay to not call people names or wherever. We could do that. But does it stop them from being who they are?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So the thing is, not calling a white man white don't mean that he don't have the kind of colonial
mindset
believe that he is the power above all.
Right. Yeah, right. And we will also have the colonial mindset that he is.
He is the all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying all that to swing right back in to say that we have these problems before us. We've discussed a number of situations earlier this morning, and there are problems. We talking here might not be able to do anything, but at least we could inject some energy in people who are listening, and who knows what movement could come out of that to challenge some of what is happening. Yeah. Now, the question before we went for that break was, how do we
survive?
How do we fix? How do we survive?
Yeah.
How do we deal with these situations? And while I started talking about things like maybe we should have some reform done in how we, deal with people who offer themselves for service to the country, whether it is now that they have to be psychologically evaluated first, whether we have to introduce new laws to make sure that we police the pockets a little different, whether, to at least make sure that when a person is offering him or herself, would have to consider these are the things that you have to go up against.
Yeah.
Because when we see precedents being set like now, where a group of politicians going to give themselves a raise before they even start to work, that precedent is now being set.
Yeah.
So which means the other group that might come in could very well do the same thing.
And it's likely they will, because that's what they tend to do.
So I'm saying that we need to put things in place to limit these type of behavior.
Yeah.
So, and this is just one way, to say, well, we need to make sure that we have at least people thinking about it again, second thought, before you actually offer up yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you're just offering up yourself because you want to get your pocket full, then, think again.
That isn't good enough. Yeah. So let's go to the brother now.
Let's see what you think.
Even though you weren't here, I think you got a gist of it. What we're saying is, from all that we've been through up to now, especially seeing what we are going through now with the U.S. hegemony and that kind of stuff, and the Caribbean gets of government, how do we survive as a people?
Well, for me, I like to say that we as a people, we need to start doing things for ourselves. And when we start doing that, we become less dependent on our politicians. And in that way, the politicians will become more submissive to us in the sense that, as it is now, it's like nothing happens unless the politicians give the green light. Like, for example, you want a job, you can't get a job off of merit no more, off of qualifications. You get it off of who you know, who political parties, and these kind of things.
Yeah.
So you find that things running down, things running bad, and at the end of the day, we're going to blame the politician when the politician ain't doing the work.
Yeah.
He have persons in place doing the work. So it boils back down to us as a people.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? If we're doing things the right way and we're doing things properly and we have things organized, then we see there's no real need to run to them. Like, for instance, if we as a people start to think about housing solutions for ourselves, like I said, there are abandoned properties within communities. If members of the community were to form a committee, a group, to look into these things, like we're saying, go check the registry, who they register to, if anything being paid, pressure the government to release them so that they could build housing solutions for people in the community. When things like these be happening, then the government kind of don't have the need to run to go build housing schemes. You see what I'm saying? They may still need to build housing, but
not to the amount that they're doing.
Not as a political tool.
Ah, yeah, you're right.
But more meaningful vibe, because people know in running behind you for a house. We got community organizations who doing housing things for us, so we could go through there who ain't styling we like how the government styling we and giving you one around. So say all that to say, community groups, community councils, you know what I mean? The community looking out for the community. You see what I'm saying? When we start to do these type of things, for example, school is free, right? And a lot of us as parents, we complain when the school asks for a contribution or asks to donate things.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But when we look at all the things which children get in the school system free, they come at a cost.
Yeah.
But is our children going to the school? So why can't we, as a parent, make a contribution to the school?
Yeah.
A year, let's just join our effort, $100. You see what I'm saying? That's like 500 children, that's a couple $1,000 the school has to do things for your children.
Yeah.
But there's a budget, though.
There's a budget coming from the ministry.
But
and
the budget coming from over, say, $100?
It coming from us, but what I'm saying still, you see what I'm saying? We look for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And there are things, and we know the budget, and budget only does so much.
But I like the group concept, like a group outside of the government hand, you know, come together as a community group.
As a community group
I
to
like the
address
idea.
issues in the community.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that we physically taking the monies out of our pocket.
Right.
But we lobbying the persons responsible to deal with their responsibility.
But you see, it you know what you just explained there shows that the way for us to survive is to go back to the old ways. Because that is what used to be done way back. We had community councils who came together, had festivals, had this, when you needed certain things done in your community. But what happened over time is that the politicians politicized it, and then the people started to pick sides. And then when one side is out and the other is in, you can't get to go to the community center. You can't do this because you're a PAM or you're a labor. You understand? So we need to go back to that community thing where you have communities that have bodies that hold the government accountable for what is done in that community. You understand? Yeah, so I hear that. But to go back to what your brother just said, what it comes down to in my analysis is this. We must learn to love ourselves. That is the main point. That is what we lack as a people. No matter how you try to twist it and turn it upside down, scrutinize it from left, right, whatever, it is because of lack of self-love.
But Quint, when our females mostly, I hope they don't get rated here, when our females mostly cannot leave the house until the mirror tell them it's okay to go, this love self thing is a challenge.
It is a challenge because, again, it comes back to 400 years of brainwashing. It doesn't go away easily. I was watching a picture the other day, right? And it was kind of weird because it was in a court. This two black people in a court. The judge was a black person, and they were trying to sift out something which we won't go into. But the point is that there was this handsome young man, beautiful young woman, but her hair was a bright yellow. You know blondes, but blondes aren't that kind of deep yellow. You understand? I'm talking about her hair was so yellow it looked like gold. You understand? A black woman, mind you, right? But here's the thing. This is what struck me. During the debate, the judge realized, but she's a very savvy black woman, and she realized that, hey, the problems that these young people are having are superficial. They could get over this, you know. They were in a sort of a divorce court, and her thing is, you don't need to get divorced. And in realizing this, she started to bring the conversation in a way that both of them, the man and the woman, started to admit that, hey, you're right, we this and that. So hear what the fella says, and this is what comes back to your point, Agard. Here's what he said. He said, I love my wife, whether she wears a wig or she don't wear a wig, whether she puts on makeup, she don't wear. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So here's where it comes down to what you're saying now. The problem we have with most of our women today, what I realized with that girl, even though her hair was that golden yellow, there are times when she don't wear she wig, when she have on her natural hair, and the brother says, I love her that way. There are times when she doesn't have on the makeup, but our women seem to be stuck in a mode where we don't get to see them unless they are completely artificial. That is the problem where the self-love comes in, so that buys into what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's not, you see, I'm just saying that self-love is a challenge, not just for women, but the fact that we even talk about the politicians earlier who seem to only think that we can import value, we can import progress, shows that same philosophy.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's not about even the here, it's about the idea that you probably don't, you don't love yourself, you don't even love your people.
Yeah.
You seem to also have exported that love.
Yeah,
where you love the idea that the foreigner comes in to put value to your country.
You're right.
And therefore kills the concept of innovation and so on for our young people.
Yeah.
So the idea of self-love is not being demonstrated on the religious level, the political level, the social level. We've seen that the whole idea of foreign intervention have always been maybe the gold standard. You have to bring in something from foreign for it to be of any value.
Yeah.
We see it in the furniture that people buy. We see it even into, well, basically all layers, all levels and layers of our society.
So then as we're running out of time, I want from both of you, go back to the other brother. So bearing in mind that, as I've said, the salient factor is self-hatred. We don't love ourselves. How do we get to love ourselves?
Well, go ahead, Chosai. Let's see you.
Well, loving yourself. Well, that's as Agard was saying in terms of the females and so forth. In a reality, everybody loves themselves, you know. But when we talk about loving ourselves, you love yourself and you love things for yourself. But the Bible talk about do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You know what I mean? So in loving yourself, what you love for yourself, you must love for others too.
But you can't do for
And-
others, as you were just saying, you can't do for
Yeah.
others until you love yourself. So
Yeah,
it's-
but what I'm saying though, if you love ripe pineapples for yourself, you shouldn't want to give a God a green one. You see where I'm coming from?
Right.
So, and that is where the envy
But then
and the hatred comes in.
But I don't want you. You're losing. You're going away from the point. I hear what you're saying, but the point is, let's come back to that self-love because it's the beginning of where we go out to anything else. How do we get that self-love?
How do we get it?
Yeah.
Well, you got to, how to put it by?
Could it start with race consciousness?
Race?
Could it start with consciousness on a whole? Like, because remember, consciousness means awareness still, you know. You have to know who you are.
That is it.
Yeah, you got to know that which makes you content, you know what I mean, to say that.
That is it in a nutshell, you know.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, that is it. You got to love yourself, and you can only love yourself when you know yourself. So how do you know yourself? Dig back into your history, follow your culture, know everything about you, know who you are. And when you know who you are and accept who you are, you love you, and then I can love a God.
Which
and
gives me the opportunity to say, again, what Marcus Garvey said and the other brethren say. He who forget his history.
Yeah.
You understand?
That is it.
Is basically bound to repeat whatever
That's it.
issues went down. And, you know, the whole idea that the month ends in a few days, and we're still dubbing it Black History Month. And I'm really glad at least we get a chance to talk about it, seeing that, you know, we kind of waiting to hear what happened with the CARICOM meeting and what's not, which, you know, we would reason about another day, and so on. So, yeah, the whole thing concerning the Black History Month, I think still that we need to stop play with it and make it something serious. If we're gonna done away with it, it don't mean we should done away with finding more into who we are and teaching that history to the youths and them.
Yeah.
I think they need that development. I think they need that fairness, that they start off with enough information for them to navigate through the whole idea that we have before us right now.
Yeah.
Me with this morning earlier, we put together Trusai before you came through. We were putting the similarities of the SSZ and the slave trade, in that you had elite groups who were kidnapping black people and selling them to the colonial powers. And then now today, the colonial powers have descendants who is now coming over here again. And we and our ancestors now, we being the descendants of those, are now willing again
our leaders
to farm up the elite group of people who call themselves politicians and what's not, and willing again to sell our people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we kind of out of time, but that's what
let's see if we can squeeze in this final call. Hello, caller.
Yes, Quint, I'm listening, right? You're talking about Black history, right? But when it comes to Black history, we put, as y'all say, I just say celebrate it. But when it comes to Black history, in the school in the Caribbean, whose history do they teach? Is it American Black history? Do they even teach Caribbean Black history?
Well, they teach the history of the European, the enslavement, how the Caribbean became what it is through the eyes of the European. That's the history they teach.
Yeah, through the European lens.
Okay.
So we have an European lens, and we're wearing those glasses.
Oh, God, so we need to take them off.
We need to take them off.
All right, then, guys. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Yeah. So we out of time, so trust I don't know, you could just wrap up.
Yeah, well, give thanks. Black History Month, you know what I mean, is a month. Through all what they do, they try compensate I by giving us a month. You know what I mean? To try to say, we recognize you all, but as I say, I story is 365, you know, so despite the month ending 2 days, There are a lot of things that I and I people did throughout the year, so get to know your history, give thanks.
Yeah, man. Really good to have you. And for Aya, you're probably listening. We are glad to have you on all here. And yeah, we're going to have more reasoning as we go forward. Next week, I'm going to be back here again with some other guests, and we're going to continue the conversations. We probably have to maybe dub a name for this show instead of just calling it Voices.
Well, Voices is the main name, right? So
So we need a sub for it.
Yeah, you could call it Voices, but Voices would have to be there.
Okay.
Because when it comes down to it, aren't we voices uttering our opinions?
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get back again, and yeah, thanks again for all the callers who contributed, and like I said, we're gonna go forward and get some of those persons come here to even flesh out some of these things that they would be arguing about online sometimes. Yeah, give thanks again, listeners. Tune in again next week, Wednesday, and we go at it again.
Yeah, cool.
Found the sound 98.9 FM.
We did natural you with fruta. Fresh. The juice with the great flavor. What? Nothing nice like fruta. The best juice come from the nature. Where fun and flavor collide. Perfect thing for nice up the vibe. Live fruta for you, that's my style. With